Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another All in Crypto podcast. Today, I am nothing short of excited to have Patrick, the co-founder of Earthlings, on the show to talk to us about his project, to talk to us about gaming and Web3 in general, Hedera perhaps, and everything in between. So welcome on board, Patrick. It's a pleasure to have you here.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, so with my guests, I always like to start with a little bit about themselves, maybe an introduction to yourself and how you found yourself in the crypto space.
My name is Patrick. I ran a business with my brother Marcel for over 20 years. It was a designing company, so that's a bit of my history. Living in France now, I quit the company with my brother just because I wanted to. I am a crypto enthusiast, and starting in 2018, where I already invested some money and lost some money in the bull run because I was an unexperienced trader, of course, but I never lost interest. So actually, I'm very interested and very into everything that has to do with blockchain or distributed ledger technology, because I've been following you for a long time as well. And I see, just like you, how everything is going to go on chain. So this is why I never lost interest in blockchain. And then, of course, learning later on how the whole industry is following a 4-year cycle, which is repeating now again, I think, happily.
Surprisingly.
With all going on in the world, we might see some weird things happening still. But anyway, let's assume that the 4-year cycle will repeat again, still being very bullish on crypto and everything that's going to go on chain. But the last bull run, we saw the whole metaverse hype. I knew that I could get a team together with my brother and other friends where I could also set up a good project, because I did see where things could still be improved. So that's where I am now.
Yeah, very interesting. So the skills that you sort of had in a previous life, you're now sort of transferring to the crypto space. I mean, we absolutely are in a technological revolution. And people only think about finance when it comes to crypto. You know, Bitcoin kind of challenged the whole premise of money. And now we've got financial infrastructure all looking towards distributed ledgers and looking to utilize them. But actually the scope for this technology is huge. Identity, finance, supply chains, NFTs, and of course, gaming, GameFi, which of course is somewhere I believe you probably saw a gap in the market in regards to bringing about Earthlings. Because just to give you a little bit of my experience with the metaverse, and I think we've spoken about this off camera, it's very interesting how people start with blockchain and then build a game, rather than building the game, which is what's ultimately going to drive people to the project, and then adding and facilitating some sort of use of the blockchain to kind of take gaming out of that Web2 world into that Web3 world. So have you got any thoughts on that? You know, what really made you say, okay, gaming's where I want to be? You mentioned the metaverse hype. Was it a kind of failing in regards to what you saw a lot of the metaverse projects doing, or what was the thought process there?
Yeah, you were spot on there. And the thing is, we found out, we thought that there were some fundamental mistakes in the market, actually. So there was the transparency, quality, Web2 mentality was missing in my experience, because that's what people see now. Because of so many bad actors in the space, they see crypto as a bad thing. Web3 space is a bad thing, but that's just because there's not always a lot of transparency. And back then, like 2.5 years ago, I saw another YouTube channel that were mentioning 10 key points to watch if you dive into any project. And they were so spot on. And then I saw another metaverse-only project, actually. And I was following them a little bit, as I did other projects as well. But they had a black page, a logo that really, well, you can't call that a logo. But so I was bold. I reached out to them and said, guys, what are you doing? You made so much money, because everything was, by the way, a Cardano chain project. Everything that launched on Cardano back then just made money. It was all so overhyped. And they sold all their land without anything to say, just saying, hey, we're the metaverse. That was ridiculous. I reached out to them. To my surprise, they reached out back to me, and we set up a conversation. They didn't show their face. That was something that I really was disappointed in, because there goes transparency already. You couldn't see who were the real names, all these things. So anyway, I really cracked down on what they were building. I said, you really need someone to ramp up your design and deliver a quality product. I expected not to hear from them anymore. But during the week that followed, I actually thought, so I did some more research and I saw all these projects. I'm like, we can do this better, so why not? And do the top 10 list that this other YouTuber also mentioned, really do it the correct way. So a week later, they did contact me back, wanted me as their head designer, and say, hey, want to play along, let's do this together. And so I declined, of course, because there was no transparency. And when I asked what they were building, they showed me a 3D metaverse open world that anyone can build or set up in 30 minutes. Really, download Unreal Engine. You have these tools. You can set up a world in 30 minutes. And that's by the way, I'm going a bit sideways here. Sorry for that. That's what I see as well. A lot of misleading content. They're building something that you can really build quickly. Then they're making a tweet about it. Hey, look, this is us walking in our 3D world. And you see these comments, wow, amazing. Just because a lot of people have never seen this before. But the new technology that is out there with Unity, or we use Unreal Engine, makes it possible to set up these things quickly. So there's a lot of misleading entities working in the Web3 space, and that's sad, of course. So anyway, to fast forward, we realized while building out and writing out our white paper, and after that continuing to build, we realized that a metaverse is fun, but what is a metaverse without people in it? Look at Decentraland, for instance. They have, well, you know the worth of the land there. It's amazing.
Unbelievable, yeah.
It's unbelievable, yeah. But what do you see if you go into Decentraland? You see empty billboards, and you don't really see a lot of players. The peak players were like 700 a day or something for a multi-billion project. That's not a lot. So we realized soon enough that you need gamers. You need to focus on gaming first. We dropped and now we are at the stage where we're just dropping everything Web3, not dropping it like we're not using it anymore. I'll get back to that later, because I love what Web3 can add to gaming, but we're not focusing on Web3. We're focusing on building a quality game, because it's gamers who actually invented the metaverse. Let's be honest, metaverse is an open space where you meet and greet, you enjoy a good time together. That's what gamers are doing for years already. So if you can get gamers to on board, then you can also build a metaverse that really works. So that's going sideways a lot, but that's what made me start this project, seeing the gaps that needed to be filled, and really wanted to set up a transparent, honest, straightforward company. So we're registered, we're out there, no black screens here, as it should be, of course. And so building from a designer's point of view, by the way, as well. So Marcel and I, we are designers. And Jorgo, who's the third founder, he's a programmer. He made a cash register system, digital. So he knows what it means to build a safe, secure product. So we said, please on board, because we wouldn't dare doing it without someone who has knowledge of technology. So that's a long intro. Sorry for that, but
no,
everything there.
Absolutely enjoyed listening to that. And it's why I like Earthlings.land, is because, and we'll talk about a whole suite of things that you were doing, but you guys are starting with the core of this industry. You're not starting with blockchain and then building a crappy game on top of it that nobody's going to want to use. The only reason people are drawn to it in the first place is because of this buzzword, Web3 and blockchain. You're starting with a game that people are going to want to play, and then adding blockchain to it, not just blockchain, distributed ledgers generally, that you're going to utilize to enhance the experience of what is hopefully going to be anybody that just watched the intro clip will see the sort of quality of it. That is actual game footage as well, I believe. That's not an Unreal Engine kind of hyped.
Well, it is Unreal Engine, but it is because we are building in Unreal Engine. But I know what you say. Yeah, it's not. It is what you see is what you get. That's what we're delivering, and so we only use in-game footage to make trailers, and we're building cinematic trailers now as well. And to be honest, the last few weeks were a bit difficult because Unreal Engine had many upgrades, which brought some bugs as well. So our main programmer is cursing me because he needs to resolve all these bugs that come with upgrades sometimes. But we never regret building in Unreal Engine because these things can be fixed. But we as designers, so Unity is also a great program to build games. So I'm not strictly a fan of Unreal or Unity, but it's just in many cases, designers go for Unity. For Unreal Engine because of the flexibility it has with colors and so that's actually the main reason why we went for that as well. And both programs have something to say for. So, but first and foremost, and you're spot on there, we are a game. Yes. So we're focusing on that first, and we'll use Web3 to give it more options. Land ownership, for instance. You can own stuff, of course, in regular games as well. But with Web3, there's even more to it, and I can go into that a bit further as well. But what we want to do is really offer a gaming experience, and that ties in with the metaverse, the gaming experience that you haven't seen before. For instance, what if you're an Overwatch fan or a Fortnite fan, and if you could own a piece of land there, how amazing would that be? So many people would jump on that. Not only because the gameplay is so cool, but also the whole design experience. It really looks like a game. And what we see with these new metaverses, and I keep saying metaverse, but we are in fact more a game where metaverse is an aspect of it. But with these metaverses and these Web3 projects, you see these modern. Every time again, it's futuristic looking plain metaverses. So we said, no, if we want to do this the correct way, we really need to focus more on design. Give gamers what they want, because it's gamers who will really come in and fill your project and game.
Yeah, do you know, I think that's brilliant. And actually, do you know what comes to mind listening to you talk there was actually Lehman from Hedera saying one way that we get Web3 adoption is to kind of Trojan horse Web 2. You know, people are trying to reinvent the wheel when actually the wheel works perfectly, but it could work even better with blockchain. So build off of that experience, you know, build off of a good game and then add blockchain to it to enhance it. I mean, imagine if you could, with Fortnite, for example, own land there, you know, have your actual share of the game. Think about the enhancements, not just from a land point of view, from a token point of view, from a equipment point of view, costume point of view, you know, think about how much that would enhance things. But if you were to enhance some of what we've seen with other games in the kind of Web3 space, nobody really wants to enhance that or wants that in the first place. The only thing that draws them to it is the kind of blockchain aspect. And that's why I was so excited to have you on the show. And I also love your transparency, Patrick. I think you've got one of the most transparent sort of approaches to this space that I've seen. You know, crypto generally is massively hype driven. We see it with tokens. A lot of tokens don't really need to be there or do anything. We also see the same thing with the gaming side of things. However, there are some genuine projects in the sort of crypto realm. There's also genuine projects like yourself in the kind of GameFi realm. So, of course, that's going to bring me on to Earthlings. So if you could give me an overview of what you're trying to do with Earthlings. What is Earthlings? You know, what are you trying to facilitate here?
Well, actually, we touched on this already. What we saw is missing quality on Web3. We see amazing gameplay on Web2, and on Web3, as you said, people are trying to sell the hype and then tie products to that. But we are trying to do it the other way around. And what we focus on is a family-friendly gameplay, because yet another shooter with a lot of blood. It narrows down, by the way, your audience as well. So we're not doing that again. So we're doing family-friendly, where all ages can come in and play. That doesn't mean that it can't be fun. I always use the example. I've got a forest here. I'm not a millionaire, by the way. I live in France. Forest here is cheap, but I've got a forest here that I own. And if I walk in there at night, and it's very dark here because I live on the countryside, that can be scary. Yeah, I admit that.
Of course.
I'm afraid in a dark forest, hearing all these noise. We got wild boars here and stuff walking around. So that is scary, and it's exciting. So, but it's family friendly. It's reality. So you can do that. So we've got a trailer. You can see it on our YouTube channel, where we have the underground of Paris. Still create exciting gameplay, but we don't need zombies and blood gore and all that stuff. So, and even there, we will put a pop-up or a warning sign or whatever, or make it able for parents to block out these a bit more exciting gameplays. But this is our focus: real fun gaming, family friendly, because you're targeting a bigger audience. Looking back at successes before, for instance, Mario Kart was family friendly. I still play that game, Mario Kart Double Dash. I even bought the GameCube. They are quite expensive now, secondhand, to play that again. Family friendly can really be fun, but you really, of course, need to excel in everything then to really get the market share. There's, of course, so that's what we're trying to do. And it starts with a great design and great gameplay. So, but touching back on what you said before, thing is, what we see is that a lot of these projects, they sell the hype of ownership, for instance, and then what I even saw is that some of them, they buy a complete shooter game from the Unreal Engine marketplace, make their own a bit, and then shout from the roofs how cool it is that you can own all these in-game assets. And then you have a small market, a small audience in the crypto space that might jump on it, on the hype, and pump it a little bit, but long-term it's not a good play. Whereas if you tap into the real gaming market, half of the population are gaming. Yep. But they don't love the word crypto wallet. They don't love Web3. They don't love anything that has to do with crypto. So, but that's also because of misinformation. For instance, gamers, and you said it a little bit already, gamers just want to have a fun gameplay. And because of all the misinformation and unfortunately the bad actors that we've seen as well, they try to distance themselves from Web3 gaming. But what if you can show them that you can onboard a game, firstly, without a wallet, and if you decide to make it seamlessly, and that's something that Hedera is going to offer in the future as well, but that's a whole other topic, and then have them experience gameplay. We have a dual token system, a Web2 token and a Web3 token, and they can play it endlessly, limitlessly with the Web2 token. And then show them what the advantages can be of distributed ledger. Let's just say DLT. I always start with the word DLT or blockchain, as most people know it. Because what you can do, for instance, now if you own an NFT, which is worthless, if the project is worthless, by the way, as well, emphasize that, because that's what they never tell you. Ownership is nice, but the project needs to be, of course, a good project as well. But for instance, if you own a weapon and you want to know how many there will ever be in existence, you can check it out. Or you can really timestamp all your progress on your avatar, for instance, your game character. What if you have an NFT of your game character and it shows the hours that you've played, or the your life level, your experience level, and all these other things, speed, endurance, whatever. And it gets updated every day automatically the longer you play. How cool is that? That is a feature that I like very much. And although there are games, because they forget to say that a lot as well, and I like to be straightforward with that, there are some games where you can indeed sell your in-game items on Web2. But usually it's not easy, and you risk to selling them and not getting anything back for it, because it's not always that easy. On Web3, it's way more easy. You can go to any marketplace that connects with the same well, in this case, Hedera, but it will all be multi-chain in the future, I believe, anyway. And you know that you can't be cheated out of it if you do it through an acknowledged marketplace. So you really, in that way, you really have more say of your ownership than, of course, any of these other games, and you get real dollars for it. Because with the Web2 gaming industry, many games say, you can sell it, but you can't transfer it into dollars. You can only go back to their marketplace. Well, and that's not what all people want. So timestamping is another thing. If you timestamp events, it's immutable. You can't cheat your way into a contest and reprogram it or whatever. I'm not the good guy to explain this. Best Milan, one of the team members, is very, very good at this. But timestamping things and fixing it on chain, it's immutable. You can't change it anymore. So there are so many use cases, and more are being built as we speak already, and more will come. And if you see that Blizzard, Epic Games, Ubisoft, they are now also onboarding blockchain technology.
Yeah,
it shows.
I think Ubisoft yesterday actually just partnered with Immutable X, which is a gaming sort of facilitator currently built on Ethereum. It truly is. Web3 distributed ledgers are going to take gaming to the next level. I'm a gamer myself. Unfortunately, I don't get a lot of time to game nowadays, but I certainly have done a lot of it in the past, probably too much. And I've always sort of dreamed of this world where the game that you're playing, the game that you're investing, the game that you love, you can own a bit of. You can own your character, you can own the weapons. And actually, and this is something that will come from the introduction of blockchain, what you spoke about a little bit with marketplaces and stuff like that. The hours and progress that you put in, you can actually get rewarded for with these items that may have a rarity, like you just mentioned, that may be able to fetch a high price somewhere. Play to earn, I think, is one of these real buzzwords that doesn't make that much sense in a lot of cases. But it kind of becomes introduced when you add this Web3 element to it. And the fact that you guys are not pushing Web3 and blockchain and distributed ledgers as a selling point, you're pushing a game that has all these benefits. I think that's the right way to do this. I totally think that's the right way to do this.
And that's why I think as we see Ubisoft and Blizzard entering the industry as well, they already make quality games. That shows already that the industry is adopting it anyway. But you need to use these tools as an enhancement and not as a selling point, because they can be an enhancement, but it should not. I don't like the play to earn phrase or wording at all. I prefer to say play and earn, but it should always be an option. And I went into play to earn project game last week. And I knew them since a long time, and then I saw their flashing email or Twitter advertising saying, "Hey, we're live." So I went there. First thing I had to do is connect my wallet. I couldn't even see the game. If me, as a Web3 enthusiast, then already backs out, can you imagine? Of course, games will too.
It's got to be easy, right? No one is going to adopt Web3 if it's not easy to do, and if it's not optional. Eventually everything we see progress to Web3 and it'll become native. But right now it's not, and it puts people off. And if you look at how you have to set up wallets, for example, with seed phrases, and I know Hedera is working on this, and all these other things and kind of barriers, which to us as natives don't seem like barriers, but to a normal person, whatever that is nowadays, you
not me.
Yeah, or me, it's a barrier, and you need that kind of add-on. Before we move on, because I want to go on how you're actually planning on facilitating ease into, adding your wallet or Web3 and stuff like that, and what that process looks like, because I think that's really interesting. Can we just sort of go back, and can you outline what Earthlings is as a game? So what is the context? What is the setting? What is Earthlings basically? What's the game?
I think easiest for anyone to, because gamers need a narrative as well and a storyline, and I need to write out the next storyline where it continues. If anyone goes to our website, he or she can click on top and download the comic book that we made for the narrative, so they know what the setting is. So it's actually, we pretend the world has gone too far. countries, they clashed with each other and actually just destroyed the whole world. And only remnants of what was the old, well, the new world with the technology, and now the old world remained. And people had to start over again. And that's where we find Earthlings, not anymore thinking in countries and lines on a map. Personally, I always found that ridiculous how people say, I'm Dutch, I'm French, I'm American, I'm Russian. You know, we're all people. And that is actually my vision on the world as well. But everyone's free on seeing that in their way, of course. So that's where it comes from, the one world united. And that's what I would envision the world to be like in the future. I hope so. But now you find yourself in this gigantic open map, and we're starting with Europe, and Europe alone is 400 square kilometers. So that's a big map. So a lot of work goes in there. We're building all our props, not the foliage, the plants and the trees, but all other props, houses, chairs, benches, lanterns, whatever. It's all built by ourselves because we want to be unique.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a lot of work. And so you find yourself in this gameplay, but it's a bit of both. So yes, we are a game, but we also focus a lot on Web3, where you can really own a village, you can own a town, you can own a train station even, or a tram station in the city. You can own a city building as well. So yes, there is ownership in that, but we go further with that. So if you are a town owner, you can have 18 land plot owners in your, and I'm getting back to gameplay, by the way, in your town. And every time they use your bank that you can own as well in your town, you can get some in-game token rewards. Wow. So I have some more stuff incorporated in this whole town and village setting. In villages you can farm, then you can get your produce to the marketplace in a town where gamers can buy certain items, because that will boost their energy again. So what we wanted to do is really get the early landowners, crypto enthusiasts, NFT lovers, together with gamers. So we need to, besides this whole land ownership and NFT ownership that you can have, I prefer to call them in-game items. We now need to onboard gamers as well. So we will incorporate quests and many other gameplays, but we will start with quests, I think. Actually, I'm quite sure because I'm doing it. but how do you then onboard gamers? Because the thing is, what a lot of people in the Web3 space, including me years ago, did not see. So you're building a metaverse or a game. Let's say metaverse. You have a lot of people buying land. And then after a few years, everything opens up. And what do you have? A decentraland with only 700 people, and that's small in comparison to the wallets that they hold. And they projects always say, we have so many wallets. No, don't look at the wallets. That's speculative people wanting to earn on your project. But you need to have gamers because you want to have a long-term play. So what we do, every land plot owner will be able to use a gamer spot or a dugout. So with these dugouts, they can onboard their nephew, their brother, their gym buddy, and say, hey, look at this, I've got a great game here. They don't even need to mention that it's Web3, because these people don't necessarily need to create a wallet. They can just start playing. Why don't you try it out? Because every time these gamers start playing, you get a little percentage of what they make from the in-game tokens. It's what crypto enthusiasts like a lot.
Yep.
But the gamers, they get what they came for. They get fun gameplay. So we, of course, need to really give them fun gameplay. So now you've got early landowners incentivized to really look out, draw in gamers, because they want some sort of passive income or revenues on their land plot. But now you incentivize them instead of them waiting for me to onboard new people, which we still have the responsibility for as well.
Of course, because
we, of course, need to make a good-looking game, and but also a fun to play game. And if we do that, then of course, then everything will tie in together. So that's some mechanics that we have been thinking of as well. It's all in the white paper. People can read it there more extensively, because I'm not always the best at explaining things in a straight line, but yeah.
We'll leave links to everything in the description. The white papers, your website, everything will be in the description.
But there will be more gameplay than that as well. So even simple things. My brother thought it would be so much fun to have a metal detector. So we made a metal detector. Why don't you go search for hours to see if you can find a spot where there's a lot of history and find some in-game tokens, things like that. But first and foremost, we're concentrating on real gameplay, starting with quests, and from there we build out all these other fun things.
Yeah, do you know? And I love that idea of an in-game economy, where
that's the right word to use for it. Yeah,
that for me, I've always loved strategic games, city builders. Even things like when Heyday first came about. I know I don't like to admit that, but I certainly spent a few hours on there, along with pretty much everyone else that I know. Yeah, this is it, and it's that idea of producing produce that you can then sell and you can upgrade your. It sounds like that's, you guys are doing a similar thing, but in a kind of.
We're doing different things. So we're making land ownership fun as well, and not just having land and that's it. Hoping for it to go up in price, and you start there and you walk around in a metaverse. But here, first of all, you walk around in the game. It's a big difference already with metaverse aspects to it. But you can really do stuff with your land, and indeed, add a chicken coop to your land, produce eggs, and we have some surprises for that as well. So there's more to it. I was a big fan of Age of Empires a long time ago. Yep. So much even that I really had to get it off my computer because it was too addictive for me. So
I've had to do that with a few things.
So same with Heyday, by the way. I just had to erase it because all these strategy games, because Heyday is sort of strategy game, building game.
Yep.
But I like to incorporate that a little bit with land ownership as well, so that this part is a bit more fun as well. And on top of that, but these things take a lot of time to build.
Of course.
So what we did there, where we are at now, is we wanted to entertain the community a little bit more as well. So we said, why not build a mini game? We call it mini game then. Now we call it add-on games, because what we saw is when I was building this mini game, I thought, okay, a few months later on, but people will probably look at the quality and judge me for that as well. So, and if it's not fun enough, because we are building something big. So we said, okay, we need to ramp up that as well. So we decided to also bring it out for mobile. But all these things take them, of course, a little bit more time. And now we decided to tap into the mobile market a bit more too. And all these games will have, as I said, we have a dual token system, Water and Steam. Steam being the main token that you can have on the DEX and on a centralized exchange. And Water being the Web2 token, as gamers know. What if, for instance, you can download Steam Runner, the first game, and you can play it as any other mobile game. And if you want to do an upgrade, you buy some Water and you do your upgrades. Everyone loves this system. Well, people love it even more if it's completely free. But all these mobile games, they have their token and you can buy them, upgrades and stuff. So a part of the revenues made with Water then goes back to Steam to strengthen the Steam price. So indirectly, so gamers get what they want, but indirectly also strengthening the Steam token price. So it's a win-win situation, I think. And later on, if they really like the game, you could airdrop something that they can also use in Earthlings land when it opens up.
Wow.
And then you have a way to onboard Web2 gamers if they choose to, because they don't have to. They can just play the whole game without any Steam or wallet, whatever. But if they choose to, you can onboard Web2 games seamlessly without them getting the negative taste that it's all about play to earn. Oh, you roll them in like that. So those are some other ways that we are thinking of onboarding Web2 gamers as well. Always trying to see where we can give gamers what they want, and still trying to get them into Web3 as well.
Yeah, and I really like your approach in regards to doing that. You know, showcasing what you guys are made of in regards to a fun game that people can play, not a mammoth task like Earthlings, which we'll get onto where you are with that, and you know what we're looking at moving forwards, but to actually showcase a little bit about what you guys are about in a kind of Web 2 manner. That is not only a great way to onboard people in the Web 2 space, it's a great way to kind of set things up for Earthlings and to show your sort of worth, if you will, as game designers with a fun, smaller game that's mobile friendly. Is there any Web3 integration with that, with Steam Runner? Is there a kind of Web3 Trojan horse in there, to call it that?
Well, Trojan, yeah, actually a bit what I explained already, indeed, that yes, there is a Trojan horse. And we're looking now on how to do this as well, because Epic Games, you can launch your games there, but not all platforms like Steam, Steam Store. It's a coincidence, by the way, that we have the same name, just anyway, but yeah, they're not so fond on that, but we think we have a workaround for that as well. And there are some other launch platforms for it as well. But yeah, Trojan horse, it's a bit what I just explained. Yeah, so you are getting these Web 2 players' attention. And of course, if they really like a game, and if we can manage to build a game that has a large user case, then yeah, you will get exposure automatically at a certain point, of course. But we like to break this barrier where it's all negative. We don't start with play to earn, let's say it like that. If you start with, there's another discussion, of course, there's so much to be said about it. So Axie Infinity is a good example. How can you say, hey, play to earn, but first you need to pay to earn, because you have to buy these Axies for $100 to $300. There's no guarantee that you get your money back. So how is that play to earn? You see, and that's, so we're trying to move it around, deliver gameplay, just let them play, and then get them into Web3 gaming. And I think the big giants like Ubisoft and Blizzard, who are now actively building these games, they, I hope, will do it that way as well. They will deliver great gameplay, and we'll have to see. But first for them, first and foremost, gameplay comes first, of course. Absolutely. So, but I'm hoping that those industry giants will now really indeed also go that way, adding it as a plus, as an extra tool on top of the gaming, and not as a selling point. So that's the whole thing. I don't think I answered your question, but that's
no. I think that's a really important point. You know, it's got to be seamless. That's
the thing, seamless. Yeah, Hashpack. You know Hashpack.
Yeah, very familiar with Hashpack. So how are you actually? Before we move on to where Earthlings currently at, you know, what are you sort of looking at for integration with distributed ledgers? You mentioned Hashpack there. What's the kind of connection there between you and Hashpack? And maybe you can broadly expand on that with you and Hedera.
Yeah, so indeed, I wanted to touch on Hashpack because they are the ones that will probably, I think, my guess, launch this seamless integration of wallet creation first, because Hedera is working on a tool for that. But these wallets need to integrate that, of course. So we're monitoring them closely. I speak a lot with Mark from Hashpack, and they will be giving gamers the tools to really create a wallet without having to do all these seed phrases and passwords that are like miles long. But if you can have an option that gamers can onboard as they do already for instance, for the Steam or Epic Store, that would be great, of course. So that's what they're working on. But we touched this already. What other things can we use? Well, you can use it for anti-cheating, as we said. You can use it for non-fungible players, where you keep track of all your playtime or all your upgrades, stuff like that. That's an enhancement, but you need to use it as an enhancement and not as a selling point. Because if that's your selling point, but if your game, well, looks like, let's not use these not so family-friendly words, but it's not a selling point anymore. The game should be the selling point, and everything else should be an addition to it that makes it stronger. And that's how we go about. And that's what we try to solve here, to do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Before we move on to where you're kind of at with Earthlings, what maybe the roadmap's looking like ahead, what the long-term vision is. Why Hedera? Is there anything you could comment on why personally you chose Hedera rather than some of these other distributed ledgers?
Yeah, that's easy actually. So we think from the Web2 point of view. So because we were entrepreneurs, all three of us, Jorgo, me, and myself. So we used to set up a business as we always did. So if you do that and you want to build a product, then you look what is good to use for your product. We didn't look at hype. We looked at Solana. Nothing against Solana, by the way. Nice green candles. But the thing is, they had some security issues back then, probably solved now, so no footing here. But that was for us. And also we saw a lot of hype there as well. So it wasn't something that we felt comfortable with. Yes, they had a lot of tools that we could use. It was quite easy, but there were some things. We looked at Cardano. I love Cardano as well, still have a back there. But let's be honest, it's very hard to program on Cardano. So we looked a little bit further, and surprisingly, I knew Hedera already. Jorgo didn't, even though it was top 30 coin token already. So I told Jorgo, please look at Hedera and tell me what you think of that. 2 hours later, he called me back. He said, "This is so easy to use. Wow. It's great. It's safe. It's fast. I can use it." So it took him 2 days to adapt. And of course, he's now still learning a lot because it is different than what he was used to. But any good program can work with Hedera. And if you then also see the fees, $0.0001 always. If you set up a business long term, you want to know where you are at in 2-3 years as well, because you have a business plan, you have a model. And if, for instance, I know XRP has very low fees, but what if XRP goes to $50?
Yep.
The fees are packed to the price of the token. This is not the case with Hedera. You always know where you're at. And if you build a business, those things are important for you. You need to know where you are. And also, it's a very safe chain as well. So this is why we decided to go for Hedera rather than a chain with a way bigger audience or very hyped, because we are trying to build something long-term with a long-term vision. And then it's important that you also work with something that you know fits well your the quality that you're trying to build. And Hedera ticks all boxes. And I think it's a matter of time before Hedera sees more growth and exposure with retail as well. And I guess more games will start to build there then as well. There's another game already building, Legends of the Past, and some smaller and bigger ones, but not too many yet. But they will come, I think, especially if they see what the possibilities are.
I agree. I think Hedera largely is undiscovered. And I think, when you hear this phrase, in it for the tech, it doesn't apply to most cryptocurrency projects. But with Hedera, it genuinely does. It's something that really excites me, is their sort of DAG model of doing things. And they are fit for purpose. And we've seen actually other bigger projects, not gaming projects specifically, but actually merge over to Hedera because of the capabilities that it offers. And this really important point that you touched on there in regards to fees. You need, as a business, to know what your fixed costs are. Otherwise, you kind of operate on a model where that's not the case. And I think Hedera has solved that problem. And you're a perfect sort of testimony to that. Let's talk a little bit about where Earthlings is at the moment. Where's Earthlings now, and what is sort of the roadmap for this exciting world that we've got ahead of us?
Well, we've got a lot to build still because it's big. I'm writing down the next mobile game as well at this moment, because that is something that we are going to focus on a lot as well, trying to onboard more Web2, get more Web2 exposure there as well, and trying to get a seamless onboarding to Web3. But also, because it's such a big project, we are now at the phase, we have a team of 22, 23 people, where most of them are building on the game. But to make this a faster run, to get a faster runway, we are now talking to VC investors, doing pitches there. So we're looking for venture capital. What's that word? It's a nice word.
Yeah, venture capital. Yeah, that's
sounds nice. Venture capital to onboard our project as well, to invest in our project, because then we can expand even more. Because we invested a lot of money, the three founders ourselves, when we started this project.
Yep.
We raised a lot of money even during the bull run, so that was great. We were happily surprised and very thankful to the community, by the way, for that as well. Hedera has a great community, tech-savvy community, by the way, as you just said. Very smart people there. So we're looking now to widen out our team. We will build anyway because we've got our own in-game studio now. But yeah, we would love to be able to work faster, of course. So that's where we are now. But we are still working on already. I'm already working on the next mobile games. So we will just build. That's where we are.
Yeah. And this project has a long-term vision. You know, it's not just trying to rush to market because of whatever state the market's in. You know, you're actually trying to build something, and these things take years. But you know, we've touched on so much, and it's got me very excited. It's got me very excited to try out the sort of mini games that you've got coming out, all leading to what I think is going to be a very exciting world and an exciting game to play that's going to have all these amazing features like an in-game economy, you know, and hopefully, by the sounds of it, an amazing sort of storyline, an open world experience. So have you got any kind of closing remarks? You know, is there anywhere, you mentioned your community. I think one of the best places if people want to join your community to go is your Discord.
No, or Twitter, both actually, because I remember when I was following a lot of crypto projects or businesses, maybe is a better word. I usually looked at Twitter and YouTube. I never went to Discord. So and you see the audience on Twitter and YouTube sometimes is a lot bigger as well. But yeah, you can go to Discord if you want to have to ask us directly questions. I'm there a lot as well. If you want to make sure that I don't miss it, you can even make a ticket, and one of the team members will always answer it. But yeah, go follow us on Twitter. We have a YouTube account as well. You can go there to see the progress from time to time. But also, any closing remarks? Yeah, I'm a better writer, I think, than speaker. I go sideways a lot. So if you really want to have a good view of what we are doing, and just read the white paper, because it explains it way better than I can do in an interview. So just being honest there as well. Yeah, no, and I love your honesty, and I think you've done an amazing job, Patrick. You know, all these different elements and all these different things, it's quite hard in one interview to cover this vast array of things that you're doing. But I think we've really captured sort of some of the main points. And of course, that gameplay at the start that people would have viewed gives you a kind of glimpse into what's really trying to be done here. We're going to leave links to the white paper, to the websites, to the Twitter, to Discord, everything in the description. Check it out for yourself, guys. It has been nothing short of great to interview Patrick. And it's refreshing for somebody like myself that spent so long in this space. You know, we see tokens launched that really have no use. We see games, we see the metaverse launch on the back end of hype with no actual desire to build a real game. It's so refreshing to come across something like what Patrick's doing, Earthlings.land, which is really trying to build a game that uses blockchain technology, distributed ledgers. So it's been a pleasure, Patrick. Thank you very much for coming on. And I'm wishing you all the success in the world. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you again one day. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.